Although what you're telling us is by the time they get here, just rain.
Probably. What we're seeing is that I believe the National Weather Service is actually about to drop or expire some of the warnings that we have in parts of Kansas with these storms. They're still pretty nasty. They still could bring us 50-mile-per-hour winds or so, but if that happens, you're not necessarily at the severe mark. But I tell you what, going from what we have right now with some sunshine, temperatures in the 80s, even close to 90 degrees for a few of us in the River Valley, with thunderstorms starting to come in from the north with 50-mile-per-hour winds, that'll shake up your evening a little bit. But anywhere from about 9 o'clock to midnight, watch some of these storms as they come in from the north. I want to show you the radar right now. We're looking okay. We had a brief pop-up downpour on the west side of Boonville. That has now collapsed again. But when you expand the view, we have two storm systems that we have to watch. The first one is for tonight. The second one, towards the south, is for tomorrow. But this one, nasty line, has been just pushing across Kansas. And you've got these yellow boxes. Those show you the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in southeast Kansas and parts of southwest Missouri. But especially on the western end, some of those warnings have now been dropped as the storms start to fizzle out a little bit. Still a lot of lightning, but we're going to be watching these. Now, the system to the south, this starts to come in tomorrow. This is kind of a subtropical wave that's coming off the Gulf of Mexico. Guys, it has been warm and humid, not just here at home, but to the Gulf Coast. And you're starting to get into the environment where here in a month or so, we're heading into hurricane season. Of course, this isn't a hurricane, but it has some dynamics that are a bit similar. A very tropical wave trying to come across the coast. This thing is just a spiraling mess of scattered showers and downpours. Usually not too much severe weather, but this comes in tomorrow. And as it comes in, it's going to help cool off temperatures a little bit, but then we're going to be dodging these splash and dashes throughout the day tomorrow. But our first thing to watch out for will be this severe storm as it's moving east. Notice how the National Weather Service hasn't actually extended a severe thunderstorm warning for this line yet. They still have the warning over the storms, but they've not gone downstream yet. That's also one indication because the winds are starting to gust a little bit slower. They're now closer to down to 55 to 60 miles per hour. When they were back off towards the north and west, they were gusting near 70 to 75 miles per hour. That's a pretty good wind. But these storms will continue to move south and east. They'll slowly weaken over time, but we could get some rumbles of thunder. So when should we watch for these scattered leftovers as they're coming in? Well, northwest Arkansas, from 9 to 10 o'clock or so, watch out for some downpours in the northern sky coming in. They'll get even weaker as they come into the River Valley. The farther south you live, I don't think you have to worry as much, but we could still have some scattered downpours in Fort Smith, maybe 10, 11 to midnight or so. So we'll watch them for you. If anything kind of gets a little hairy, we'll go on all our platforms and we'll give you live updates on how the storms are tracking. But throughout the evening and early morning hours, watch out for a few thunderstorms coming in northwest Arkansas. Temperatures fall into the 60s once the rain starts to hit. In the River Valley, we also have some chances, but the chances are just a little bit lower. So we're going to watch storms come in, but over time, they'll just kind of get messy. So hopefully that stays the case and hopefully just get some beneficial rain. But tomorrow morning, we'll wake up dry. But then later in the afternoon, that wave that we're watching closer to Houston, that comes in and just gives us scattered downpours for the afternoon and evening. It can get kind of wet out there tomorrow evening. How much rain are we talking about? Well, with tonight's round and tomorrow's round, maybe a half inch or so, sometimes a little bit more. All these downpours are just going to hit different locations, but we have a good chance for maybe a half inch or so. If you're waiting for a cool down, though, I saw just a quick brief glimpse of that one. The cold front that we've been waiting for comes next week. We still have to have the heat and humidity through Mother's Day. We're just bouncing around between the 80s most days. But then next week we go back to the 70s. But what you don't see is the humidity. It also just plummets. It's been very
for more than a couple of days?
For the whole week.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Well,
nice Mother's Day gift, just delayed.
Until June and July come along, and then it's a distant memory.
We're not going to get cold fronts anymore.
Exactly,
No,
yes.
still have to get your mom a Mother's Day
You're
present,
gonna still have
though.
to.
No one's off the hook, even though
man.
you're dropping the humidity.
We tried.
All right, Matt, thanks.
For the first time, Arkansas has won the SEC softball championship.
Intelligence to extra game.
That was last year's SEC tournament. Gainesville, Florida, for the first time in program history, the Arkansas Razorbacks SEC tournament champions. This year's SEC tournament just moments away from beginning. It's the 12-13 matchup tonight, Mississippi State and Missouri. Arkansas has the defending national champions and the 4 seed. They're not going to play until Thursday afternoon, but this game tonight does have implications. It gets a little messy, but it's Mississippi State and Missouri. The winner is going to play